Hey everyone, welcome to Technogate. We are doing our season finale after party here, so things are going to be a little bit more relaxed. We're not going to be doing an actual game today, but we're going to be talking a lot about what happened in season one, what we're planning on doing moving into season two, and then just kind of maybe just going over characters a little bit more. And kind of flushing out a few things, as well as we're going to start off here by kind of talking about some of the repercussions of what happened at the end of season one. With the death of the main bad guy, the arch nemesis Muddin, and all of his clones as well. But before we do that, let's go ahead and just kind of start off here. So we have Phaedra Bennett, that is being played by Amber, who is a good friend of mine and worked with me on a 40-person tabletop Gen Con event. How's it going, Phaedra?
Doing pretty good, pretty good.
So, Phaedra, tell me a little bit about your character and how you kind of got into this game here, and just a little background info on the character that you built and what you played through season one.
Okay. So starting off, I've never played Technocracy whatsoever. I didn't even know what a progenitor was until we started on episode 1. So that's my excuse why I don't really know much about my character. Uh, but her background story was she met Muddin 15 years ago uh, when he murdered uh, her mother. Leading up to that, she was trying. Her mom was a prostitute in Las Vegas. She wanted to get a better life for her mom. In order to get enough funds to go to college, she started job searching a little early uh, and met Muddin at a job interview. Felt super bad vibes and yeeted out of that, but somehow found her home and killed her mother instead of her. Uh, so ever since she had been researching the cult and following him crime scene to crime scene, and that's how she met her current group of people. Um, so the death of Muddin right now, it's a little hectic.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, it's definitely a very traumatic time for your character, for sure, and and it will probably be something that it'll be interesting to see how your character acts and what they do in season two, and really we're going to be trying to kind of change it up, that we're going to be kind of just not really doing necessarily season two, but we're going to be launching Technogate 1999. um, so but it'll be interesting to see how you develop your character moving forward, because there's just so much life and so much to your character, but Muddin was a good chunk of that story to your character, and how why your character was part of Technogate, and but I think that she's kind of found a home here, at least within the group.
Yeah, and she still has one more goal to do, so she's
Oh
sticking
yeah.
around for a while.
um, All right, so and then we have Tycho Vance, that is being played by Mike, good friend of mine who also does podcasting with me and did a 40-person tabletop game at Gen Con. How's it going, Mike?
Oh, pretty good. Didn't have to work today.
Always a good thing. So tell me a little bit about your character Tycho Vance, and what kind of stuff you built for the background story for your character.
Well, I don't know where it came from, but essentially he was a kid who grew up on the base. His mother was in the Q division. She was the big scientist. And his father was an adventurer, uh, Buck Samsonite. And Buck Samsonite famously disappeared in 1978, I think. It's in my document somewhere. Um, and then at some point in his childhood, Tycho met up with some werewolves and they took him on an adventure for about 4 years. And now he's back, and the werewolves don't like him anymore so much. So his mom got him a job on a Technogate team. And then he found out that his fate was intertwined with these other people. Uh, and he constantly bothers everybody about where is his father? What is he thinking about? Is he thinking about me? Stuff like that. And then at some point, we figured out that nobody really knows if my father was really my father. So that'll be fun.
Well, you did learn one thing was that Muddin did know your father and said that he was a nemesis of his.
Yeah, Muddin was
It's not.
like, oh, yeah, Buck Samsonite? I know that guy. That was it.
Yeah, that was well. And then you killed him, so
Yeah.
you didn't really delve too much deeper into that area. Um, but you also did a bunch of running around with werewolves with your character, right?
Yeah. The answer to that is yes. Do you want me to elaborate?
Yeah, go ahead and elaborate just a little bit on what your experience was. Why was a technocrat hanging out with a bunch of werewolves?
Oh, so using some of the mythos from the Madison Under Siege stuff, the Gen Con game that you constantly reference, um, I used some of the characters from the werewolf game to say that my mother knows some of the like higher up werewolves. So one day they found a thing out in an umbral realm and they didn't know what it was. So Walter, one of the elders in the Madison area, was like, "Oh, go over to the Vance household and have Tycho's mom look at it." But Tycho's mom wasn't home, so I looked at it and I'm like, "Oh yeah, this is technocratic." And I was like, "I know how it works." And they were like, "This is time sensitive. Come with us." And that's when I left. And they were called the Diamond Dogs.
Awesome. Yeah. Yep. So yeah, and then you hung out with them for a while before coming back over to Technogate, and then one of your first missions was to go capture Phaedra. Actually, believing with the technocrats believing that she was possibly the one, possibly Muddin, basically.
Yeah, that seems so long ago now.
Yeah, it was quite a long time ago. It was last year. So all right, let's go ahead and move on here. Next person that we have here is Malachi, who is being played by Hockerman, and he's a good friend of mine. We've played multiple games with each other over the years, and I was privileged to be able to join his gaming group and Mike's gaming group for a bunch of really awesome games, and I'm glad to have him on the show here. So, how's it going, Hockerman?
It's going pretty good.
Awesome. So yeah, go ahead and tell me a little bit about Malachi's background story and how you kind of got sucked into this group here.
Yeah, I was a late addition, which was completely fine. I kind of prefer it just because you can understand the role that you're coming into a little bit better. And Malachi, he started out in a military family. We'll say technocracy adjacent. Made some friends with a tradition mage, and then that obviously, when he got into the technocracy, that was a problem. He did all the right things, but didn't really convince them that he didn't view the tradition mages as the deviants that they are. And because of that, he got assigned to work with the civilians and also help protect them due to the dangers that they were heading on, which would be, TG 42.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I got
Awesome.
assigned with TG42 to keep basically my envisioning is that the brass wanted to keep him close, enough to keep an eye on him, but far enough away that he's not putting himself in danger.
Right, you kind of black sheeped yourself.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, awesome. Last but definitely not least is Robert Kell, being played by good friend Ricky, who has been a recent addition to the gaming world through, has done a couple little things here and there, but this is one of his main long-term campaigns that he's been on. How's it going, Ricky?
Good. Got the day off, which is always nice on a Monday.
Yeah, I was really happy that we had today off, and no, we didn't get.
And I didn't have to get called in, so
Yeah.
even better Monday.
I was just about to say, I checked the emails, I just didn't see us getting called in, so I was happy about that. So yeah, tell us a little bit about your character, Robert Kell.
So, like you kind of mentioned, I was not really someone who had played much tabletop games. I'd done a few sessions of D&D here and there. I was completely new to the World of Darkness side of things, besides, Vampire the Masquerade, the PC game. So Robert was kind of the tried and true. He kind of was existing on the periphery of a lot of the deeper lore and that kind of thing. He wasn't really one of those people that was given much knowledge of some of the deeper stuff, just so that I could kind of use him as a blank slate to learn along a little bit. Learn a game I had not played, a world I hadn't experienced, that kind of thing. So I got to kind of experience it through his eyes for the first time too. Just kind of an easier way for me to still feel like I'm contributing without needing to know everything that I need to know, type thing, I guess. So he was kind of, just your basic. He had worked on the periphery, but no real knowledge of the technocracy.
You did like psychological scans on people that.
Yeah, he was.
The Umbra
He was helping with the therapy from some of the things people came across, without really knowing the background of what they were actually dealing with. It was more just kind of the after effects. So he had gotten an idea of the stuff he'd be seeing, but not in any level that prepared him.
Yeah, definitely. And then you kind of came on board to Technogate as the same kind of way as you were there to kind of keep the psychological understanding of what's going on.
Yep.
With the group, and kind of was introduced as the shrink basically for the group.
A job I would not wish on anyone.
No, and since then you have monitored and copied the minds of your fellow.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I could back up anyone that needed it at this point, or restore anyone rather.
So the next thing I think I just want to kind of go into is this kind of a what are some of the favorite times that you kind of had for your different characters, and what's the most memorable event that you have, what happened to your character in this game, and so I just want to start off with Phaedra here. So what do you think is the most memorable event that you had during Technogate?
I mean, there were so many. And my favorite one.
And feel free to go, through a couple ones if you want as well, if you have a couple that have.
There was the time was that the Underdark where we were at when we were trying to find Muddin's secret laboratory?
The Abyss.
The Abyss. Yeah, where I had to drink myself.
Oh, yeah. Where you were going to fall into the Abyss if you didn't drink yourself.
Literally just kept popping pills until I ran out and then said, screw it, shoot me. And then, obviously, when we were grabbing I guess the ghoul blood. Just saying, screw it, let's just run him off the road. That was pretty fun.
the whole coming up with the whole plan on just smashing him with a semi truck and just taking his blood and going. that was pretty cool. I remember that.
Yeah,
That's not too long ago actually.
That many successful roles, all those 20s.
Oh my god, that was just beautiful to see that it was so successful. You basically and then me remembering that bashing damage actually because I was like, wow, you killed him. and then I was like, wait a minute, bashing damage, it you have to roll over so that it goes to lethal damage, and then lethal damage can kill you. And I was like, wow, you got him all the way to, like, I believe he was unconscious or at -5 with lethal damage. So you'd basically decimated the guy, but you didn't kill him. It was like the perfect roll.
I remember that drive roll. It was something like 2 successes for the first roll, and then like, I don't know, 9 for the second. So I was so happy, and then oh my god, I just murdered the dude.
Yep, those are my faves.
All right, cool. So, Tycho, what were some of your favorite scenes or games that we played?
Let's see. I love having at this point, it's almost a running joke of me pining for my father. I hope that it, eventually, like, turns into a cool thing. But at this point, I'm pretty satisfied with where it is, because it's like there is something wrong with this kid. So learning about, like, figuring out what that actually is in the future, I think is going to be pretty fun. In terms of gameplay, let's see, the when we went into the Umbra and you gave me that rocket launcher, what was it? It was like super duper laser gun, and then it did like 2 damage.
And did you get stuck with a sword?
What's that?
And didn't you do the whole line that he stabbed me with a sword, Mal?
Yeah, I got it with a sword. You hit me with a sword, Malachi.
Yeah.
If you don't get that reference, watch Serenity. One of the greatest movies ever made. And then the other one is The Race on Autochthonia.
The race. I feel like as a GM that was one of my crowning achievements of a fun kind of one shot showing you of another dimension, um, and that was just such a fun race. And the things that you guys did, your car was ridiculous that entire race, like busting through that wall, jumping over Malachi's character, and jumping in front of the biker dude that you guys raced. And you guys still have those motorcycles. You've never used them, but you have motorcycles for umbral travel. Well,
You cut out. We have the what?
you guys have the bikes, the umbral highly advanced bikes that package up into like little, squares basically, and you can throw them out of your pocket and go flying around on a crazy bike that you guys won from that.
Do we just have the one?
I believe
No,
you
you
have
have
two.
2. I didn't get one because I wasn't driving.
Because I believe both you and Malachi beat him.
Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah, I got that bike on my sheet.
Yeah, but along those lines, there's a phenomenon that people who don't play RPGs a lot probably don't know about, and that's when you think back about things, there starts to be like a melding of remembering playing versus remembering what you thought it looked like. And like that one part where I took the lead where I busted through a wall, like I like visually remember that.
Oh, I
And
totally visually remember that. Like, I have a whole visual, like, 30-second clip in my brain of that a specific event.
yeah, it's an interesting phenomenon that I think a lot of people. Well, I suppose if you read books, you probably get the same thing. But you know, when you're the character, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so Robert, what were some of your favorite events that you kind of, or scenes that you went through in the game?
In terms of just like holy shit, I can't believe all that just happened type stuff, definitely the setup and execution of getting that blood sample was probably at the top. Close second was probably me sneaking up and popping a cap point blank into bad dude's head. As a guy who didn't really have good luck in fight scenes prior to that, that was a nice moment to finally have after doing some shooting training and stuff.
Yeah, and that did come like immediately after your training and stuff. So
Yeah, yeah.
it had like really been like your character evolved at that point.
Yeah, no, that was a cool moment. Not just feeling like you're kind of there along for the ride when the bad guys show up, but actually being able to take someone down like that in that moment was cool.
Awesome, awesome. Well, so I think the next kind of segment that I kind of just want to go into is just basically what are some of the things that we
You
want.
missed Malachi.
Oh shoot, sorry, I don't know why I did that. Malachi, um, sorry about that. What are some of
Oh,
your
no.
favorite memories that you've had?
Well, Robert just inspired one of when he capped that guy. That was the first episode that I had played, and also so like I was brought in like, all right, you're gonna be the gun hand. You're gonna, you need to help out with these combat scenarios. I'm like, all right, I got it. And then like he just shoots the dude in the back of the head, and I'm like, wait, what am I here for? But
Well, you did pierce it through the heart, I think, like right away at the beginning of the fight. Like that was like one of your first actions, I believe, was to shoot it, and you got like 7 or 8, 9 damage, something like that, and it just was able to mitigate a bunch of it.
yeah, because he had a bunch of like floating cards. Um, yeah, but I really enjoyed the stakeout scene of the vampires. Didn't know what was there, and just like coming up with all of the contingencies that we did, and like trying to cover all of the angles to make sure we weren't surprised, but we still got the information that we needed. I enjoyed the whole sequence, along with getting the blood. That was obviously I liked driving that truck, but yeah, the to be unique, it would be the scene of the stakeout of the warehouse.
Oh yeah, yeah, that was a good scene. Um,
I have a visual memory of like Mike busting through the wall, of releasing that RC helicopter as just like a creative way of solving the whole. They don't have advanced drones yet, but you do have RC helicopters.
Absolutely, they do. Well, we have ourselves a drone. Yeah, and I suppose I should say what my favorite moment was, and I think my favorite moments were playing Maxi through it. Anytime that you guys like ran into or talked to Maxi was just a really fun time for me as a GM to kind of try to jump into a character and just kind of be off the wall and kind of crazy, but know that like there's a bunch of information that this character has and that she doesn't give away information freely normally, and usually if not asked, she probably won't even think to tell.
Oh, Maxie.
Yeah, my only scene with Maxie was you guys where like things are falling out of the sky, and you guys are just like, "Oh no, that's normal." Just like continue on. Like, wait, what?
I'm gonna steal her VATS one day. It's happening.
Yeah, did
Or make my
we?
own.
I think there's a couple games that we played that we didn't publish yet, and I think that I'm trying to remember which ones we did do with in season one with Maxie. But I know that you guys did a because yeah, the when you guys went to the Matrix, when you first met her, was not in season one. That was kind of the prelude of the game.
Mm.
So there wasn't a whole bunch of her in season one, but she definitely will be pretty big in season two. Um, so one of the things that I want to do in this next segment here is kind of go over and see what would you guys like to see more of, or what do you want, in season two or the next Technogate 1999. So we'll start off here once again with Phaedra. If you have any comments, any things that you wanted to push forward with your character, I believe you have a character storyline that you're going to be wanting to push now that Muddin's dead.
I need more time for research and to do more experiments. Cause like it always seems I get about like a 2-second window to just hurriedly put out some crap pills or some bandages, and I can't do off the wall stuff uh, like creating human sized hornet nests or something like that, because that takes a lot of preparation. Uh,
So you'd like to see more of the being able to spend that week of downtime to really get everything prepped and ready, um, before having to jump into but not just jumping right into a mission to get the mission and then to be able to use a bunch of time to prep a bunch of stuff for specifically for that mission.
yes.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that, and I think that's one thing moving forward is that week downtime, you'll also have a week usually leading up to the mission, give or take. There'll be some missions that will be, oh, there's an emergency, we need you to go through the Technogate and go do something in another universe or whatever. Um, but a lot of your missions will be something I think I'll allow for you guys to prep, and we can use a lot of that game time in the first hour and a half, being prep and then doing some stuff in the world. Well, not I would say probably only about 40 minutes maybe of prep time. But yeah, we can definitely I think spend more time on making sure that your characters have not necessarily more time that we need to spend in the game on it, but we can say that inside the game there's more time for you. That you have like a week of prep, so you're not scrounging to try and get something together.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, so Tycho, any suggestions or any things that you want to push more in the next upcoming games?
The only one that I have ready right now is kind of a tongue-in-cheek one, but I want a theme song.
What?
Oh, you want to see theme
I want
song
a theme song.
for Technogate or for your
Yeah.
character?
No, just Technogate.
Okay, I was gonna say every time that your
Um,
character walks into a room, you want a theme song that.
oh, like a sitcom where it's like, and
Every
then everybody
time we
cheers
come
when I come through the
bathroom
door.
commercial.
Oh God, can we go to the sitcom realm? That would be good.
Oh, actually, since it's such a big thing that's going on with WandaVision, I feel like we should go to a sitcom black and white realm in 1999.
Yeah. Oh, but along those same lines, I don't know if you guys know this, and I'm not sure how like big this is, but apparently 2021 is the year of the sea shanty.
Oh,
So
Oh, I love sea shanties. I love me some sea shanties.
You know, everybody loves sea shanties, and they just don't want to admit it.
I introduced it to the marketing girl at work, and she's now going to work it into the playlists for pregame.
Yeah, so I'm just imagining like a void engineer out in space sea shanty, uh, where it's the wake up call. Uh, but maybe that wouldn't fit exactly with the Technogate theme. So I'm workshopping it.
Okay.
Also,
Okay.
you know, it can't be long. It's got to be like 30 seconds or something.
Yeah, but yeah, if we could get I would love that. The one other thing that I would like to do is to maybe get character portraits done of all of your characters, and we can use that more during the games. And um, one thing I've been thinking about doing is seeing about maybe getting a bunch of sketches done. So like not something that's like full color or anything like that, but just something that's really cheap to just kind of throw up a bunch of scenery and stuff like that that we'll be using. Um, but yeah, I'm definitely interested in adding some more kind of aesthetics. Oh, hey Orange, how's it going, man? Yeah, WandaVision is pretty awesome, man. Pretty happy about that. I'm definitely looking forward, and people are kind of complaining that it's being week by week, and I say to them I'm kind of happy it's week by week because it just gives me something to look forward to, and I don't binge it all at once, and then I'll just binge it all at once when it's all out anyways. So I don't know if anybody else has an opinion on that.
I'm already
I think
waiting to binge it all at once.
I
I
think the
just
first two
finished.
episodes were a little weird, but I've got high hopes.
Well, I
I
definitely
just
feel like it's not exactly what I was expecting, that's for sure. But I don't want to spoil anything, but it was definitely different. But I liked it.
I killed Mandalorian in like both seasons inside of like 4 or 5 days. I'm basically waiting to do the same thing for WandaVision. I'm just like, once they finish, then I'll just do all of it in 3 days.
Oh yeah, yep.
Keeps it fresh.
All right, so let's go ahead and move on to um, Malachi. What suggestions or what would you like to see moving forward?
Yeah, I got a little bit of time to think about it, and this is a love hate relationship. Um, I really enjoyed the variants of paradigms. Yeah, paradigms. Like we went to the land before time, in quotes, um, and then we also went to a Dyson sphere. That is, and that those are two very far apart paradigms. And then there's just I know that there's so many more. It can be challenging to make your magic work when you get to some of the ones that are more against the technocracy or that particular perspective. But I enjoy and looking forward to the seeing the variants of the places that can be gone to.
Yeah, and yeah, I think that that's going to be the focus of the next um, show. Really, is going to be a major focus on trying to be very episodic and very, every episode we're going to be going somewhere in the Umbra, somewhere different, possibly revisiting some places, but for the
No, I
most
don't.
part, I'm going to try and make it different every game and try and make it feel like it's a very different game every game almost, by going to a completely different world.
I wouldn't mind some two-parters though.
Yeah, and I mean those are just gonna naturally happen. Um, you
Yeah.
know. Cool. All right. So um, let's see here, Robert. Do you have anything um, that you would like to see going on in season 2?
Really, I'm kind of just looking forward to see where it's going. Most of my focus, I think, going into season 2 is now that I've got a little more idea of what to expect from the World of Darkness world and that kind of thing. I can start trying to put a little focus on a little more of a backstory and kind of some of the background things that happen with my character too, kind of going forward.
Nice. Yep. Cool. So, I think so. One of the things that I want to talk about now is just going to be, kind of wrapping up some of the loose ends that we have in season 1, and kind of how it all ties back to Muddin. So at the end of season 1, you guys destroyed Muddin. Not only did you destroy Muddin, you destroyed all of his copies. And a feat that was not accomplishable by or thought of by anybody else at this point. Um, and there's a few other, kind of things that are still going to be kind of hidden back there. But one of the big things that kind of comes out of all of this is that, to a certain degree, this was also a test, to see what you guys would do, to a certain degree. Now, there's definitely, Muddin was doing a bunch of stuff, and he was trying to get bridges executed, and he was, trying to invade Mars, and all of these things were happening. But a lot of the choices, as you kind of saw at the very end, were to be made by your group. And one of the ideas behind this is that your group is going to be the next generation, and they know that the next generation needs to be, um, have some agency in what's going on in this world. Um, and so it is one of the reasons why you guys, even though by defeating Muddin you're not going to be losing your destiny, there is still, the end of the world 1999 event that's, happening still. And they believe you play a large role during and possibly after that event. Um, but at this point in time, General Bridges is back. All charges have been dropped on him, and we're going to start season or Technogate 1999 with Technogate back underneath his control. The investigator that is looking into your guys' attempted murder, um, he was Muddin, and he's going. He basically explodes when you guys do your ritual, um, and you basically accomplished two. You did your dragon's bidding by killing Muddin, basically. Um, the other major kind of loose ends that we kind of have is all of the demon cults and stuff like that, and they've kind of all gone underground or kind of vanished at this point. Although we might see those pop up, and there might be some more stuff going on with demons and stuff, involved with the larger end of the world arc here. But for the most part, all of the major kind of events or kind of loose ends that we kind of have at the end of season 1 are kind of going to get wrapped up, and it takes a couple of weeks. Things are kind of in motion, but in the end, you guys are accommodated for your valor, and your destroying Muddin is like a huge thing. So you guys all get huge commendations on your records, as well as like a medal of I don't know if it would be valor or something like that, for your actions.
That's good, because I was wondering if we were going to have to keep this a secret and everyone just assumed he disappeared. Well, guys, we got everything turned back on. Did you see any issues? Nope.
Yeah, everything was great here. Yeah, it was a fun time staying at the Dyson
You guys,
Sphere.
Muddin was trapped there, right? Like, these guys definitely would have run into him.
What the hell happened there? Uh, but yeah, anybody have any questions, comments, concerns, anything that I missed? All right, cool. I am going to then um, bring us to a little commercial break here, and we'll be back in probably about 10 minutes or so, so stay tuned. All right, and we are back. So, the next kind of segment that we're kind of going to be going into here is kind of flushing out the characters a little bit more, making sure that they've got all the backgrounds that they need at this point, and all the little gadgets and stuff that they kind of want to make. So we're going to be probably using the How Do You Do That book to a certain degree here, as well as just kind of going over some of the stuff. So during the break, we kind of did talk a little bit about a couple of things. So we're currently talking about um, mind control bullets was the very last thing that we were just discussing. And is that something that you wanna do as a project with these guys?
I was going to get the feasibility. I was kind of feeling out the feasibility, if it seems like it's possible or not. But yeah, it's one of the bullets in my. I'm picturing just eventually getting like a whole, 128 marker set of different colors of bullets that I can pull out and put in the pistol and do special things. Not as
I think I would see that more as like a syringe gun, like a Fallout syringe gun type of deal. A serum would probably work better than a bullet.
yeah. Um, uh, I guess that
I
there's
could see.
a small amount of comedic factor there of just the idea of shooting somebody with a bullet and then being just like, "Oh, do you need some help?" Like, yes, I need to know. And you just start talking to them.
Well, if you
Bullets
shoot
of
me, I
friendliness.
might be compliant.
What was that, Mike?
I think if you shot me with a gun, I would be pretty compliant.
uh,
But
that's
my idea was maybe like a beanbag round out of a shotgun that released some mind control spores. That would put it in the life category. Life mind.
ooh, that's an interesting concept.
Now I got to carry a shotgun as well. I mean, how big is my pistol? Can I make a?
Yeah, you could make like a little beanbaggy, same kind of thing. It would just be way less damage.
Well, to be honest, if I'm using the mind control bullet, the damage is probably very secondary anyway.
Right. Yeah.
So the idea of having that go away, so I don't actually have to, because then I could use them on regular people, just because it won't immediately kill them because they just got shot. So that's a porous rubber bullet that might fit the gun's design a little bit better because then when it bounces, the pores shoot out the spores of the zombie spores.
Maybe a paintball pistol.
You could also base it on some
I mean,
of
those
the
those
because
don't
even
exist.
though we're not going to be continuing a lot of the storylines, these guys still will have that vampire blood. So Phaedra could also base it on the concepts of how vampires use blood in order to. Um,
Is that it's not you the mergy. What is that called?
that's
Uh,
just blood bonds.
oh yeah.
That was what
I did have those
inspired it.
pills.
Was hearing how that was working. That's actually what inspired the idea.
I'm working on it.
Nice.
One device that I do want is a scalpel of correspondence. which it cuts through bone, and when you cut a body part, it retains its blood flow and sensation until it's transferred to a different.
Well, it sounds like you'd be able to actually make a gadget instead of a device out of that. Um, and that was one thing that we were kind of just talking about before was the differences between a device and a gadget. A gadget is something that's created using magical spheres, but in itself doesn't have an Arete score, and therefore, is based upon the rules, of when it's created. It's like a scalpel that basically, like what you said, a scalpel that does something specific or something like that. Whereas a wonder has a Arete score and spheres inside of it, and then a multitude of different things that it can do based on the spheres that it has. Now it doesn't get the like can do whatever it wants. It still has parameters that it has, but it uses its Arete score instead of your Arete score. I believe you can still use your Arete score if it's higher. But the basis of what you're talking about definitely sounds like it would be something you would probably need. Do you have forces or you life?
I'm looking in the book at the device, and it's called Scalpel of Correspondence, and it has correspondence of 3.
Okay. Does that have an Arete score or is it just a?
Is like I think you have to have an RTA of 3 to use it, which I do.
No, if it says it has an Arete of 3, it means that actually has an Arete of 3.
Really?
Yep, and so it takes prime.
Well, because it doesn't say RTA, it just has like 3 dots in front of it, and then says Scalpel of Correspondence. Does that mean that's the
Oh,
RTA?
so those 3 dots in front of it means that if you're buying that with a background, so there's backgrounds that you can get in Mage that allow you to pick different wonders and different devices. So this is definitely probably in the device section, but it's probably similar to the concept of there probably is other things inside of there as well. But there's like the jacket or whatever that is just basically using matter 3 in order to like strengthen it. Um, and all you need is that thing in order to make that. But it doesn't need. You don't necessarily need that background. You just need, and you don't need to make a special wonder for what this item is. It sounds like this one doesn't have an Arete score of its own, and it's a specific gadget. Which 20th anniversary is when they really started doing a really good job of differentiating the difference between. So a lot of the older books are going to just call almost everything devices.
Okay.
But this definitely sounds like it's a gadget. So it's something that can be created using what did you say was that Life 3 or
Correspondence 3.
Correspondence 3? Yeah, so if you have Correspondence 3, you can make this item, which is a gadget basically that can do this, or you can have that background and at character creation you can create these things, or when I give out and there's ways of buying backgrounds in Mage through experience points. But it sounds to me like you'll have Correspondence 3 to make it, right?
Yeah, I have it.
Yep, so I'll allow you to make that gadget then, not a problem.
A lot of times when you add stuff with background, it's supposed to happen like through storytelling, and I could see Moxie having a lot of this stuff. I mean, Maxie.
Yep.
Okay.
I think you're still supposed to spend experience points to get it, though.
I mean, it depends
I
on
don't know.
how it goes about the like if it's part of the story and she gives you something because I had her give you something, you don't have to spend experience points. But if you're just using her as a reasoning and you just want to easily get the item, you can just spend the experience points and then you have to have a reason behind getting that item.
Yeah.
That brings me to a quick question. Will you allow me to spend? Can I take experience into the negative, specifically to get a ret 4? I will have to go to -2, pre-spending 2 dots of experience.
Since
You
this
do
is a
that?
much better time actually for your character to get the bump in a ret instead of at the very beginning of, as soon as the next game rolls over, I will allow it. But it's definitely something that needs to be sanctioned.
Okay, yeah,
And
that's fair.
that's a good enough reason, I think.
That's fair. I may even choose to self-sanction and using it for the first session, but I'll have it paid off. So I got to come up with how am I expanding my knowledge of the universe?
Yeah, definitely. And if you write up something, I'll just give you 2 experience if you actually put something in writing for me. And I think that'll be um, a way if you want to go down that path. But if you just want to think about it and then spend the experience when you get it, which will be the
Yeah,
next game. Which
I,
actually, at the end of this, I'm gonna give you guys all, and I might as well give it to you at this point in time since we're at this point. I'm gonna give you guys all 4 experience points, just for this little session that we're having here.
okay. Yeah, I want to write something up, but I'm afraid that I'm going to end up I'm going to, it's really easy to say something casually that actually has very impactful meaning,
When it's in writing, oh man, it's so much
Yes.
different.
Once it's on paper, then all of a sudden it is. All right, I'm going to just notate that. That's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to think about it. Uh, it's a nice burning of this experience. Well, it's not burning; it's getting a ret 4. That's awesome. But I will. I'll come up with something. I'm cooking something up.
Cool. So anybody else have any other devices or ideas or things that they kind of want to go over with their character? Um, I know that there's.
I
Yep.
wanted to talk about it's the item that I've had from the beginning of the game, uh, called my dad's gun belt. So the main thing in that is the laser gun, which for whatever reason I have been able to use this whole time. I think probably because it's fairly simple, like it's point and shoot kind of thing. Like it just works. But I've kind of hinted at it before. There's like a bunch of other pouches on this belt, and I don't understand them yet. Like there's little devices and cords that come out and shit like that. Um, so I was thinking about almost making it a catch-all. Like it's like as my spheres go up, like new devices almost appear, or the ones that are on there, I suddenly understand them. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it can be a pretty. I mean, one of the things that I would say is that is going to be a very unique um, foci for you. So you can look into. I would say look into the rules on unique foci and stuff like that. And it sounds like that would be a really good interesting foci for your character to link a lot of his um, stuff to. I mean, it's kind of like the similar attitude of like. I mean, Iron Man can do a lot of stuff outside of Iron Man's suit, but almost all of his quote unquote magic is tied to having an Iron Man suit around him. Um,
Yeah,
and just like your character would be able to do a lot of stuff without the belt, but your character should tie a lot of your devices and abilities and even your off the wall magic or sorry procedures um, as being something that is tied to your belt. And uh, one of the things though that we haven't really talked about with your belt though is the arete of your belt? Does your belt, because you've been using it as a wonder, but so far almost everything you've been doing with it has been very is very gadget oriented,
Gadget.
because it's more of like a
Yeah.
which wonders can do. But a lot of wonders also have a arete that allow you to do a force 3 effect that you use the arete for trying to damage somebody rather than the standard attack roll. So far we've been using the gun aspect of it as very much as if it's a gadget, um, and it doesn't use arete in order to do that. Do you want to go in deeper with this being something that's more of like a wonder that doesn't have, or if it does have an arete, it's not really a big factor in what it does?
Yeah, no, that's an interesting question. Like, I guess when I first came up with it, I almost didn't consider that there was other stuff other than the gun. But I like this idea that like as my character is moving forward, and I've made this huge thing about the fact that my father disappeared, and it's a big part of my psyche. Like my character development is almost tied to my understanding of the belt moving forward.
You're like every main protagonist in a video game who lost all their abilities. Every time you pass a level, you unlock one more pack from your utility belt.
Yeah, like every time I buy a dot, there's like uh, a device on the belt that's associated with it.
Are you looking for device ideas, or because I just thought of one that I liked.
Well, what's the one that you like that you thought of?
Like how Displacer Beast has that 50/50, that kind of mirror image. Um, it basically, yeah, there's like a kind of like a stealth boy where you click it on and then you can move, but you also stay there, and then when you shoot, you can shoot from surprise or something along those lines. Just something to physically locate you differently than what's expected for the next attack or the next, in quotes.
Yeah, some stuff like that would be cool. I mean, it would make sense for an interstellar, interdimensional adventurer to have stuff like that.
Yeah, especially it makes negotiations a lot easier when you can stand right in front of them. Now, talking to them through it would be probably a whole nother level. But it's just, yeah, it's a. I do like the idea of having this thing that you have that you have the like there's the idea that it's unknown and it'll be discovered later. I like that. Once you earn it, in quotes.
Yeah, I think the mechanism would be over time I can discover uh, rotes, so very specific, or rather procedures, like specific procedures that I can do using the belt at just a lower difficulty.
Yeah, so you're
Uh,
looking for more of the unique foci aspect out of it.
yeah, pretty much. Um, but then, let me just throw this out there. Some of the procedures that I find are just really fucking weird, like specific things that make me question where the hell my father was, like, what he was doing in his adventures.
That could be fun.
Where it's like finding out a certain procedure is like a clue.
Ooh,
Ooh, it's a
yeah,
treasure map.
interesting. And you still do have your father's book as well. Well, you
And
don't have
I've
it
got
anymore.
it.
Yeah. And
Didn't
those
that
those are
disappear
things
with
we're
all the
gonna
legends?
definitely continue looking into and doing stuff with in season 2. Your character background stuffs are stuff I want to delve into more for sure in the next story.
Yeah, speaking of that, we got to find out more about Robert's background. There's got to be all sorts of weird, crazy things there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone who acts that plain has too many secrets.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what that is too. to be determined. Find out next time.
Yeah, we'll have to have like it'll be this like mysterious episode where like after we get to know all of the characters, it gets to Robert, and it's like wait a minute, we don't know anything about Robert. Who are you? And then we find out that Robert actually is a clone this entire time.
Would not be
Oh,
surprised.
Mudden.
Oh no!
He's a Mudden clone that prevented his own death during the procedure that we did.
Right.
Oh man.
He was able to because he was part of the procedure. He also hates himself, and so was fine with killing all the rest of all the other ones.
Yeah, those guys are a bunch of pricks.
So you really shouldn't let your backstory just be written by us. You never,
Yeah, don't leave it up to the audience, man. That
yeah, you could
is
end up with some.
dangerous.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Well, my mother was an Effendi, my father was a werewolf,
And I got on this team how?
I'm General Dick's son.
I am Samsonite.
you got stuck in time.
Yep, memory got damaged or stolen, or you
Oh,
locked
that'd
it
be
away for the
fucked.
safety of.
Fountain of Youth, but it brought back your memories so that you didn't remember that you were Brock Samsonite. So now you're just the young 20-year-old Brock Samsonite, but only with the memories of a young 20-year-old Brock Samsonite. But that's why you're really quiet about everything that's going on, because you're like, well, I kind of feel like it should be the 70s, but I guess it's the 90s.
It's Buck
I heard it's
Samson.
1998.
It's Buck Samsonite, not Brock.
Oh yeah, Buck.
Oh yeah, well, Brock, Buck, what oh, it's Buck Rogers of the what I've thought, because I like when you said Buck Samsonite, I thought for sure that that was a real like Hollywood character or comic book character. And so I'm like, so there's Brock, and I don't know what Brock's last name is from the Venture Brothers, right? And then there's Buck. What did I just say? Buck
Rogers.
Buck Rogers. And so like I was like searching all over the internet, and all I could find was Buck Rogers and some Buck Samsonite. Is like a luggage company or something like that. I was very confused.
Yeah, Samsonite is a luggage company. But there's no like current Samsonite company that's like a big deal. So it seems like a retro like word.
It was awesome. I scoured the internet trying to find this guy. Couldn't find anything on him.
The character from Venture Brothers, his last name is Samson, so that was definitely where I got that from.
I'm more familiar with Duck Dodgers than I am with Buck Rogers. When Daffy Duck runs around in space.
Oh yeah.
Duck Dodgers of the 21st and a half century.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, with the Martian guy.
Yep, with the Martian guy.
With the Martian guy, yeah.
They had some quality antics. With they had pistols that shot messages back and forth. That's totally some That's that's totally some rotes that they had prepared, correspondence rotes.
I bet my gun does that.
You can shoot a message and it just like stops right in the air and then unveils. Like just the paper rolls out and just says words on it.
Yeah, it also does aggravated damage.
All the nasty gram.
Oh, yeah. So what I was thinking for Robert Kell, you've been like the stuff that you've been doing before this. Uh, what is it? You do after action reports and like
Yeah, like
uh,
debrief, mental like wellness checks and stuff for debriefs, and dealing with some of the outpatient stuff from some of the trauma experience, that kind of thing.
yeah. I'm just kind of thinking of like, well, first of all, you would actually know a shit ton about the stuff that's out there because you have to listen to all the stories.
Well, so I was at like a really low. I was at like basically the ones they could trust with like civilian type stuff. So
Oh,
it wasn't the people who saw the super deep shit. It was more the people who probably didn't make it very far.
yeah.
Yeah, they were probably the people that came back just like freaking about the concept of alternate realities in general, and like they couldn't even handle the base concept of like being shown that there actually are alternate realities. That's probably about as far as his character
A
probably got. Maybe a little bit deeper than that.
I was gonna say a good bit of, I guess, almost retcon would be that I'm more specialized in the early washouts, kind of debriefing people that had washed out early, didn't make it too far, and some of the stuff they had seen.
So you're getting the people who didn't have enough information to be erased.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they had maybe brushed the edges of some of the stuff, but that's why I was kind of in the dark of just how deep this all went.
Yeah, you label people as schizophrenic.
Yeah. Oh, this
Well,
man's
there could
obviously
also
broken from the stress. No, he saw all of that.
there is also the aspect or the possibility that like they saw some shit that they couldn't explain, because they couldn't understand it, and you were the guy that helped them justify it in their mind. So you were just kind of like,
So I
what's
had to
that?
be detached in order to help them build
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
I'm just trying to. I'm thinking of that scene from the beginning of the first Men in Black movie, where it's like, nope, that was swamp gas. That was swamp gas, right? Yeah, that was swamp gas. Like, okay, you are mentally fit to go back to society now.
Yeah, exactly.
So you would be really good at convincing people of shit.
Yeah.
Maybe even really good at convincing yourself that you're not my dad.
Yeah. So weirdly enough, and this fits in well with the fact that I didn't actually know what was going on behind the scenes because it worked better. I'm terrible at subterfuge. um
Yeah,
just
yeah, so you it's not about lying to yourself. It's about
no,
just
I
believing.
actually thought these people were unwell, so I was just helping them out.
Man,
All
I have
right.
to figure out my mental state.
Yeah, your character going through the whole like Muddin being dead is gonna be interesting to see that in the next upcoming story. Um, Definitely something. I look forward to kind of going and using next season as more of a delve into your characters and check out other realms, and we probably, even though in the background there's going to be the whole resistance, fighting this nameless and trying to stop the end of the world type stuff. I believe next season is not going to have really that much focus on that. We probably won't. We'll probably end the season right about when that stuff really starts to heat up, and then the next season after that will probably deal with the end of the world, type thing. And as we all know, well, it might just be the beginning, or you might stop it. Who knows? But yeah, I
This game
think
doesn't really start until like season 4.
right.
Yeah.
That's when the end of the world really ends. Um, but yeah, I think we'll go ahead and wrap it on up here, and prepare and get everything all set up for season 2 that we'll be calling Technogate 1999, and that will be debuting on January 25th. So this is Frozen Fallout signing off.
This is Moto Rory saying good night.
Jesse Mouth says, bye-bye, peeps.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for coming.
I forget. Malachi is saying later. I'm really bad at these.
Awesome.
think
Well,
bye.
I think we
gotta
got
come up
through
with catchphrases.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys. We will get everything set up, and thank you for your comments too, especially on how to improve the game for next season. And I look forward to trying to implement that. So, all right, have a good one.